A completely normal person into. Yeah. Do you have a question? Next.
I completely forgot it.
Got it. No worries. Anyone else? Well, you remember? Yeah, go on.
How come you were in super maximum security?
That was it.
Well, super.
Okay.
You were moving and stuff. How come?
I ended up in super maximum security prison because when I was on remand, the prosecutor had played a number of dirty tricks on me. After a year, she doubled my bail, so I got sent over to maximum security. She stopped my girlfriend from visiting me, who was my lifeline, by charging her with one prescription pill in our medicine cabinet that didn't have a written prescription right next to it, which is a classic felony. And a final farewell to me was, my sentence was 9.5 years, and one of my sentences within that was 26 months. She put it down on her paperwork as 26 years. So with a 26-year sentence, I was fast-tracked as the highest security level prisoner to the super maximum security prison. Yeah, now in super maximum security, you very rarely get out your cell. Armed guards, Darth Vader outfits, shank-proof body armour, come and feed you through a trap in the door. You're allowed out to get a shower about once every 3 days by law. Now what they do is, they'll come to your door, the black sidewalk guards, and they'll tell you to go and, no, they'll tell you to put your hands through the door, and they'll handcuff you. And then you have to go and face the wall while they open the door, and then you have to step out, turn around, and then you're walking towards the shower then along a run of cells, and the guards are either side of you, and they say to you, if you turn your head, if you talk to another prisoner or signal to another prisoner, we're just going to grab the back of your skull and smash your teeth into the concrete. So you're so scared, then you're just walking forward very carefully and cautiously. Get to the shower, back up, unhandcuff you. They you're in there then, and the water only runs for 10 minutes for security purposes. And you can imagine what kinds of things are on the walls of these toilets, and there's all kinds of weird showers, there's all kinds of weird creatures in there as well. The guards lock you in there for hours. In the beginning I was yelling at them, let me out, you know, and I think they get off on that power trip. But then I started to say to myself, how can I turn this to my advantage? I started doing stood up yoga positions in the shower for as long as they kept me in there. And one of the most ridiculous yoga positions ever is the hula hula, where you go like this, round and round and round and round. So I'm in this shower, you know, where my neighbour's a serial killer, my cellmate is a satanic cannibal who's part of a cult that's drinking blood and eating human body parts. There's death row over here. There's these guards in the Darth Vader full-on outfits, and I'm in the middle of this doing the hula hula. It just made me giggle no end. Yeah, you get very few calories as well in super maximum security. The meals are very skimpy. The list of things you can buy from the inmate store is very small as well. So, you know, you're on the subject of aggression now, and this is a really good topic for me to cover this with you. In prison, disputes are resolved physically, right? At all of the different security levels, except for super maximum security, because in super maximum security, no one gets out of their cells. So people can't fight each other in the traditional way with their fists. So what happens is, to settle disputes in super maximum security, the prisoners weaponize their bodily fluids and excrement. And for example, a prisoner will get a chicken bone, you know, with the evening meal, the chow, get a little bone of the chicken. He'll put his crap on the chicken bone, and he'll make a pipe, a little blowpipe, and then he'll wait for someone to walk past his cell, and he'll blow the dart, the chicken bone, with the excrement, and it'll get in the guy's neck, for example, and then it gets into the bloodstream, and the blood transfers the crap then throughout that person's body. Yeah, and it really messes that person's immune system up. Yeah, that's one example. Now, you know, a lot of these guys have got hepatitis C, so you've got a chance of catching hepatitis C from that as well. Now, there's all kinds of different levels of doing this. Some of the more serious people doing this, what they do is they pee and crap in, say, like a bottle like that, for example, and they'll leave it for days until mold grows on it and it gets really toxic. And then they'll attach the blowpipe, say this is like a shampoo bottle, and they'll attach the blowpipe here, and then when someone's coming past, they'll squeeze it, and the whole concoction then will go all over that person. They'll try and get it on their face and in the eyes and the nose. And these guys as well, what they'll do is the guards will come in then, and they'll use these things on the guards, bazookas they call them. And they'll also cover themselves in excrement as well, so when the guards are trying to grab them, they're all slippy and covered in this stuff. On the subject of prison aggression, I'm going to tell you a story that leads up to some of this as well. Because Mrs. Jan asked me, are people in prison just psychopaths and it's just in their nature to be like that? Or does prison make people like that? The most dangerous prisoner ever in the Arizona State Prison System is a guy called Bonsai or Bonsai Bob, Robert Wayne Vickers. He came in as a young person who'd been doing burglaries in the late 70s. And he was only on a short sentence. And you know, he's in an environment back then where people were getting gang raped, beheaded even. There was all kinds of violence going on, it's just completely gang controlled. And he's surrounded by all this violence. And it starts to rub off on him. And one morning, his cellmate didn't wake him up for chow, and his cellmate drank his Kool-Aid. So he waited for his cellmate to go to sleep, and he stabbed him to death with a toothbrush that he'd turned into a homemade knife, a shank. And then he carved bonsai on the guy's back. And that's how he got known to be called Bonsai Bob. When the guards come along, he said, "I've killed my cellmate," and the guard laughed and said, "No, you haven't." He set fire to the guy's toes, and because the guy didn't twitch, then they knew the guy was dead. So he gets moved up to what's called CB6, which was equivalent to super maximum security back then, where you're not allowed out of your cell. And he manages to pick his lock right away and get up on the roof. On another day, he picks his lock and a neighbour is walking past and he stabs the guy in the chest trying to get his heart, but the guy survives. On another day, he's walking to the shower and he's cooked up hair gel, he's heated hair gel, and he calls his neighbour to the front of his cell, throws the hair gel on this guy and toilet paper, sets fire to him, and the guy is burnt alive, and nearly all the prisoners, also a lot of the prisoners nearly die from the smoke that fills up the entire facility because there's no way from the smoke to get out. Then he goes to court for all this stuff, manages to get out of his cuffs and stabs guards in the chest and the armpits. Goes to court again on another occasion, gets out of his cuffs in the gallery and attacks the public gallery in the courtroom. Then he's got the death penalty by now, and he's considered so dangerous. The warden has a shower installed in his cell, and they weld his door shut. Yeah, and the only reason they let him out was in 1999, so he could die by lethal injection. So you've got to ask yourself, was he a psychopath from birth, or did the environment turn him into that, or is it a combination of both? I think it was a combination of both, probably. He had some tendencies and that environment really brought them out.
Wow.
Yeah, Bonsai Bob. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because everywhere I went in the jail, I would hear stories. He was like the boogeyman of the jail system, I'd hear stories. And then by the end of my stay in the remand, I got a cellmate. He'd been arrested 150 times. And he knew every story, and he knew he'd seen Bonsai Bob, and it was an old time. He told me the full story. It's also towards the end of my book, Hard Time, as well. You can read the full thing. Yeah. Yes, go on.
Did you ever get put in solidarity? That was called
Solitary confinement.
The shoe.
Oh, in the shoe.
I don't know what
The shoe is super maximum security prison.
Okay.
That's where I was for 3 or 4 months, which I already described. What happened was, I was in medium security remand for my first year, and then I got moved to maximum security.